Everybody, this is the monthly trend scan here of the futures market for the month of April. So we have some excitable price action activity here in the beginning of the month where we're leaving this box we had talked about several times before. That's actually an S1 pattern short that failed. Well, without a trend that failed, and that's a bullish signal. And it's not only this, well, we basically have a break of this S1 pattern. That's a daily S1. So that's an S1 within a daily S1 within a weekly S1, and we can nicely see it here on the monthly how bullish it looks like. This is the weekly S1 and this is the daily S1. It's a pattern within a pattern. And that has, well, that basically is double pressure. Well, it's not a guarantee that it will work out, but this is a buy signal, right? So I have entered a long signal here, a long trade, which is basically an investment. Well, I'm looking for being in that trade for months, right? If not years. So if this is the pattern, I'm getting in here basically with well, entry was a bit earlier, was here, and the stop is down here. So that is this wick, right? This monthly wick. Well, that's a very tight stop if I want to write the monthly trend, right? What is the momentum move of this pattern? Well, it's this one, and that took basically, well, that took 2 years, right? So that's basically an idea for 2 years. This is the YM. Let's have a quick look at the other US equities. The ES has not yet rebroken here the S1 on the weekly, so it's lagging. On the Nasdaq we see an entry, right? So that's another here, right here. That's a confirmation that the weekly S1 has just triggered, and the Russell is lagging. It's lagging quite a bit. So because this is a monthly trend scan, let's have an overall look on the charts, thinking about, okay, what happened, right? Well, what happened here is, well, the Ukraine-Russia war started in February 2020. So this basically started this correction down. It's not a big correction, right? If you think of a war starting, well, that's well contained basically. It's only testing the 21 moving average. Then we had the Silicon Valley Bank, right, failure, and then we had the Credit Suisse failure in Switzerland, etc. So that occurred here. So that these events, well, did not break to a new low. Well, quite the opposite. A failure to follow through on the downside with bad news, well, that might be a bullish signal, right? Plus we've got an S1 short pattern that failed, so that's enough for me to think of long again, and we might have consolidated out here. Well, make your own due diligence. You never know what happens. We never know what's going to happen on a geopolitical and global scale, right? But if this war in the Ukraine, just remember, Ukraine is a very small country compared to Russia, right? And both sides have lost a lot of soldiers. So there's some talk behind the scenes that NATO is getting into the war. Well, NATO, it's basically Europe at the forefront, right? Well, if NATO gets involved, if they send soldiers, etc., well, we might actually see that money is fleeing out of the Eurozone. Where to? Well, big money can only flee to the US dollar, and that's basically US equities, stocks, right? And there will be money fleeing in the Swiss franc, and we can see that if we look at the forex charts, well, we see that there's a big move supposed to happen in the Swiss franc. So even if the war picks up, we might actually see that US equity prices pick up too, and that is actually could be bullish for US equities. So here the metals, gold is as well a bullish, right? We saw, well, this S1 pattern on a monthly chart has triggered some months ago. Then we got a pullback down and immediately breaking higher, making a new high. So that's another sign of bullishness. We see it here, right? And in the overall scheme on the quarterly chart, well, that's an S1 within an S2 pattern. Well, that's quite something, right? The consolidation high clusters with a 2011 high. So should this level break, like this consolidation high, which is a double top, by the way, should this break, well, we should see a really good momentum to come. to follow. And well, how could that look like? Well, it could be a big green bar, right, similar to this big green bar, or it could just be the starting shot of a couple of successive green bars, as we have seen here. This is a momentum move we're looking for, right, if we break to a new high. So that looks bullish here too. And should the war pick up basically on a global plane, if NATO joins, just hypothesis, right, thought experiment, well then, well, that should help gold to go much higher. So it could be that gold has already positioned itself well in front for something to escalate. Now, similar silver, it's kind of a confirmation of gold as well here. We've got an S1 pattern. It has triggered some months back. It has pulled down, well, found support, broke higher. Again, well, that's different here, right? That's an S1 on a monthly within an S1 on a quarterly, and it has just made its first leg, right? That was a huge opportunity when we traded that on very short time frames. Well, if we get another or a couple of legs, right, higher, and that's what should come in the years following, well, we should see silver be a really nice trading instrument. Well, this is an S1, not tradable. It went too deep, but it rebroke the base, and it looks like it wants to break here the consolidation high. Again, breaking a consolidation high is always a stop run level, and that should generate a stop run move. Beautiful trend here. We love to trade these things, right? Now let's have a look at energy. So we've got an excitable price action event here with crude. We have a weekend gap up. Well, that's quite a big gap right here on the daily. We can see it clearly on the daily. Well, it's gapping up, well, still within the range. Now all eyes basically go on the range, right? Should the range break higher, and that range clusters here with this S1 pattern. It's not a tradable pattern. We don't have a high frame trend, but still it's a pattern. So should we re-break, well, that indicates a bull strength. And then, well, we actually have a test bar here. That's what we were waiting for, right? Nicely testing the 21. Well, that's bull strength, still in the range. Well, now basically we're looking for breaking outside of the range, and such. Well, what is the gap? Well, don't make it too complicated. A gap, you just fill the gap with a bar. So that's a big green bar, right? What we see here, and that is bullish strength. Here with gasoline, RB, another excitable price action event. And again, we've got a gap up, right? And that gap up basically triggered here the S2 entry. That's an S2 pattern, turtle pattern. Well, if you look at, okay, how big is this stop in relation, we can look at the daily, right? And basically, well, all that is the consolidation, right? And the stop is from here to here. So that's a relatively tight, it's a low risk idea, right? What do we have overall? Well, we have an S1 pattern, and it looks like we've got a lot of bullish strength, so that it's an S2 daily within an S1 monthly pattern. Just a side note here, coming back to the Dow Jones, this is a stop run level on the daily, and should we run that over, well, we could actually see that this current daily bar grows really big. It could grow into this area, right? A big green bar, and then these are additional stop run levels coming up. So that's it for the month of April. Looks quite bullish for US equities, for metals as well. Energies look like they're picking up, and let's see how that and the coming months will do. Thank you.